Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Wargaming terrain tutorial. In this week's video we're going to be building these window frames you can see here. Now this is part of a larger build, as you may know if you've been following the channel. We'll have that larger build video out sometime over the next day or two, so I'm just in the process of editing that one now, but this one here I just wanted to show you really quickly how you can make these really simple windows and also this quick shop front, as you can see here. Now for this project today I'm going to be using this strip of balsa wood here. Now this stuff I found at the craft store in a packet, I think it was a packet of 10 or 15 in there. This stuff definitely goes a long way when you're making small things like these window frames, and I found them perfect. It's the only material I needed for the build, and as you'll see in the larger build that's coming out and in the preview pictures for this video, I did end up making quite a few of these. So the trick is obviously you want the outer frame of this window to fit perfectly with the holes you've cut for your windows. So for me that's 2.5 centimeters by 3 centimeters, and I'm just going to be using my Stanley knife here to cut down a few of these strips and get them ready to glue up. Now when you come to glue these up, what you'll find is you can either use the building itself or you can do as I've done in this video here. I've used a small template, and you just push these windows out once you've got them constructed. Now because of the glue we're using for this, which is super glue and it is quite thin, you may find that some of these frames will stick to the foam as you put them together or once they've dried, but it's not too hard to get them out of there and they'll be fine. It just might mean you need another scrap of foam to make another window template, that's all. Now we'll say you do want to be a little bit patient with your glue up on this one before you try to push these windows out of this template. You don't want to be breaking these or having the joints moving as you try to push it out. So definitely be a little bit patient. Make sure you're using extra glue if you need to. One thing I don't show in the video but I do recommend is that once you've got this glued and dried, I'd go across all those joints with another drop of super glue just to make sure that it is sturdy and steady and it's not going to break apart at any stage. So we are using balsa wood, which is a little bit fragile. If you've got access to plasticard you might find that's a little bit more durable. But once these are all dried up, and like I said, I've given them a couple of dabs of glue on all the joints, I've had no real problems with these. They're sturdy enough. As long as you're not trying to break them, they should be fine and not fall apart on you at any stage. So once you've got all those joints glued and dried, next thing you want to do is grabbing that same strip of balsa wood that we started with. Here I've just cut myself a couple of little thinner strips, around about 1 mil. So this just makes some little 1 mil by 1 mil squares or lengths of balsa. You want to measure it up against your inner window. Make a plan before you start on this as well, so you want to make sure you know where you want to place all these and what sort of window you're looking for. Use a reference picture if you have to. Here what I'm going to do is just a little scrap of cardboard, have a little drop of super glue ready to go. But I'm also going to put a drop of super glue in the inside of the window frame just to make sure that when I put it in there it has got plenty of contact with glue and it will hold steady as we move on to the next steps and add in the other bits of the frame. So here I'm just going to dip it into that glue as I mentioned, just making sure that I do have plenty of contact. It is a very thin piece of balsa that we're using here, but it should wedge in there, so you want to make sure that you don't cut this too short or it can be a little bit hard to get the glue to set quickly. But if you make it, I found the balsa's just flexible or soft enough to be able to wedge in there without bending or breaking. So once you put that in there, just move it around until you're happy with where it is, and again just make sure that the glue is contacting with the outer frame as well as the bar you put in. Again, as I mentioned, you probably want to go through and add extra drops of super glue onto these joints. Everywhere there's a joint on this window, usually the super glue will shrink as it dries, so you won't notice these drops of super glue once everything's set. But you do want to make sure that you are pretty thorough with that super glue to make sure that it doesn't break apart at any stage when you're trying to move it out of this template. If you are building it into your actual building, you probably won't have as much trouble with this moving it around, but just be careful if you are using balsa. This is pretty fragile stuff. So I did make about 16 of these I think, and I didn't have too many issues with any of those. So the final bars for these windows are exactly the same as the first one. Just measure, cut, add some glue and push them into place and give it a good amount of time to dry, and remember to add that extra dollop of glue onto each of the joints for these before you push them out or use them. So now I will have my big build out in the next couple of days. Hopefully tomorrow. I'm just still in the process of editing that one, so as you may have seen from the previews in this video, it is quite a big build. I really do hope you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you do see when that one comes out. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. If you've tried to make these yourself, please let me know. You can see here this shop front was done very simply with some packaging plastic and a few strips of balsa glued on. So you could certainly do that yourself as well with the rest of these windows. It would make it a little bit easier and quicker, but I found this was perfect for what I wanted. No glass in the windows for my ruined building, and I will have that out tomorrow. If you've enjoyed this one, please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell notification if you want to know as soon as that new video comes out. Thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate your time. I'll see you soon. Thanks again.